play will show about a little bit of his life. It'll show about the rules when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a little boy.
Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1929. His father and his grandfather were Baptist ministers.
When he was a boy, Martin went to school for black children only. There are certain places he and his brother and sister could not go because of the color of their skin. He wondered why.
Martin grew up to become a Baptist minister like his father and his grandfather. He was called Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
Many people listened to the powerful words of Martin Luther King Jr. He said he had a dream, and his dream helped change the history of our country.
Martin Luther King Jr. lived in a time where there was a need for a change. We will see how his dream helped to bring about that change. In a classroom, Miss York and 4 students are discussing the January calendar. This month we celebrate the birthday of the great American. His name was Martin Luther King Jr.
Why was he so great?
What did he do? I've heard his name, but I don't know why he was so famous.
Which one of you can tell us something about Martin Luther King Jr.?
My grandmother lives in Montgomery. That's in Alabama. She told me all about him.
Tell us what she told you, Dina.
Martin Luther King was a preacher in Montgomery, and my grandmother went to his church. She said a long time ago there was a law in Alabama that black people had to sit in the back of city buses. If the bus was crowded, they had to stand up when white people wanted their seat. Whoever heard of a law like that? Besides, what does that have to do with Martin Luther King?
James, that law was about when Martin Luther King Jr. set out to change it. It all started one day when a child of black religion named Joseph Parker looked at him the law.
Scene 2. Inside a city bus in Montgomery, Rosa Parks is sitting in a seat near the front. Every bus seat is filled and people are getting on.
All right, folks, get up. Lady, are you going to move? Lady, if you don't give up your seat, I'm going to have to call a policeman out there.
Go ahead and call him.
Officer! Officer!
Lady, if the driver asks you to stand, why didn't you? Do you think it's better I should have to stand for white folks?
I don't know, but the law is the law. I'll have to take you down to jail.
Martin Luther King Jr. speaking from a pulpit.
This is not a just law, and we will protest it. We will not ride the city buses in Montgomery. We will walk. We will ride mules. We will drive wagons and share cars. But we will not ride the buses until the law is changed. If you will protest courageously and yet with dignity and Christian love, when the history books are written, in future someone will have to pause and say, there lived a great people, a black people, who had the courage to stand up for their rights, and we're going to do that.
Wow, what happened?
Scene 4. The classroom.
Martin Luther King and his people did not ride the Montgomery buses for a whole year.
Did he change the law?
Yes, James, the United States Supreme Court decided that people riding on buses could not be separated or segregated because of the color of their skin.
Then Martin Luther King won a victory for all people everywhere in the United States, didn't he?
Yes, and it was the first of many victories, boys and girls. Dr. King became the voice of people across the land.
Is that all he did? Just make it so people could sit down on buses? My grandmother said he marched a lot.
What did he march for?
Martin Luther King was a peaceful man. He did not believe in violence. He thought marching was better than fighting. He led what were called freedom walks or peaceful protest marches. He asked his followers to love their enemies.
Is that the way you got people to pay attention and listen?
Yes, Ida. His marches brought bad laws to the attention of people everywhere, including those who made the laws.
My grandmother remembers when black people could only eat in special restaurants for black people. She couldn't go to the movies where white people went.
That's what the marching was all about, Dina.
About eating places and movies?
James, it was about giving everyone the same rights. Was there a right to have one set of rules of laws for white people and another set for black skin? Remember the bus? Don't you think that all people should be considered stand where they please?
But I still don't understand how Martin Luther King changed things.
New laws weren't needed to bring change, David. Martin Luther King Jr. marched and preached about the need for change and the right to equal laws and treatment for everyone. Many important people, both black and white, heard his words. They joined the Martin Luther King movement in cities all over America.
I saw something on TV that happened a long time ago. Marches were carrying signs and there were so many people you couldn't even see the streets or sidewalks.
Once Dr. King and his friends led 200,000 people on the march in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. It was the biggest public action by a group of people in the history of our country. A park in Washington, D.C., a great number of people are marching and singing. Brothers, this is a peaceful freedom march. The people of our country will see us and hear our voices.
They must know we must have new laws the same for all people.
We will march to the steps of Lincoln Memorial. That is a good place to talk about equal rights and freedom.
Let's go. Sing out for freedom. Martin Luther King Jr. is speaking from a podium.
Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out this true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream, though, that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slave owners and the sons of former slaves will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream that my 4 little children one day will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of skin, but by the content of their character. When we allow freedom to ring from every town and every hamlet, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children will be able to join hands and sing in the old words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, great God Almighty, we are free at last.
In the classroom, Miss York and the students are making Freedom March posters.
Millions of people watch the Freedom March on their TV sets and hear the moving words of Martin Luther King.
My uncle was there. He carried a sign that says, "We want to be first-class citizens." Grandma has a picture of him.
Americans knew it was time to make new laws. The next year, 1964, an act called the Civil Rights Act became a law. All people could use parks and stadiums and swimming pools. All restaurants and hotels and movies were open to everyone, black and white alike.
By then, I guess everyone knew how important Martin Luther King Jr. was, didn't they, Miss York?
People from around the world know about him and how he believed in peaceful ways to bring about change. Has anyone ever heard of the Nobel Peace Prize?
I've heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
Each year, prize is given by some citizens in Norway for the promotion of world peace. Prize winners may come from any country in the world. It is a great honor to be named for this prize.
I'll bet King won that prize.
Did he, Miss York? Martin Luther King Jr. was the second black and the youngest man ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1964, he was invited to Norway. The world watched as King Olav I of Norway and many other famous people honored Dr. King. They said that he, more than anyone else, had done the most to promote peace in the world.
It makes you feel proud, doesn't it?
What was the prize? What did he win?
Dr. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize medal and $54,600.
That's a lot of money.
What did he do with all that money?
He didn't keep it for himself. He used it to help make his dream of freedom for all come true.
Once more, Dr. King speaking from a podium.
Man could overpress and violence without restoring to violence. The Nobel Peace Prize was not a personal honor. It is a tribute to the courageous of million-gallon Negroes and white people of goodwill. They follow a nonviolent course in seeking to establish a reign of justice and rule of law in the United States.
In the classroom.
Once Martin Luther King and his followers marched 54 miles from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. It was a year after the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in public places.
What were they marching for this time?
Dr. King wanted everyone to know that voting laws needed changing. After that, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed. It did away with tests and taxes, which has stopped many black citizens from voting.
I guess lots of people loved Martin Luther King, didn't they, Miss York?
He had many followers, but many people did not think as he did. There were those who wanted to fight and stop him from making changes in the laws.
You mean they wanted to hurt him?
In 1968, Martin Luther King went to Memphis, Tennessee to help the garbage workers. He and some friends were standing on the balcony at his hotel. Suddenly, the echo of a shot was heard, and Martin Luther King slumped to the floor.
What happened?
Somebody shot him.
Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by an assassin. A man filled with hate took the life of a man who preached love.
What a terrible thing to happen to such a good man.
People around the world wept and mourned of the death of Martin Luther King Jr. He died a young man, but his spirit and accomplishments live on today. In his 39 years of life, Martin Luther King changed America's thinking about the human rights of all people.
Okay, this concludes our play. If you'll sit for just a minute, our students are going to line up in the front and introduce themselves and the part that they had in the play.
I'm Jennifer McCameron. I was the best rider and a marcher.
I'm Dan Watson, and I play James.
I'm Benji Finch, and I was the policeman.
I'm Tim Woodson. I was a protester, and I rode on the bus.
I'm Sean Taylor, and I played the first march.
I'm Matt Reed, and I play the bus driver.
I'm Leah Koslacki and I played Tina.
I'm Angela Langler, and I play the bus driver. I'm Denise Cook, and I play Miss York. I'm Heather Steckman, and I played Ida in the classroom.
I'm Jeff and I play the bus leaders.
I'm Sarah, and I played the second marcher.
I'm Brian Gordon, I'm the bus driver.
I'm Kim Campbell, and I played Melissa Parks.
I'm Lindsay Shutter, and I played the girl narrator.
I'm Mary Shine, and I was a marcher.
I'm Dennis Crosno and I was an artist and I rode the bus.
I'm Kevin Pettig, and I'm also an artist.
I'm Anthony Garrett, and I played David in the classroom.
I'm Tracy Corey and I play the bus driver.
I'm Brock Ross, and I played the bus driver.
I'm Brett Armitage, and I played the boy narrator.
I'm Billy